Hey everyone, today we are going over the Baroness G.I. Joe classified Cobra Island deluxe action figure with the C.O.I.L motorcycle. And this is absolutely a beautiful piece I've been wanting to go over for a while now. Finally starting to force myself to get into my backlog. Now this is one of the originals. I think they re-released it, but this first one was, I believe, a Target exclusive. So if you want to pick this one up, as I always say, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if anybody has this in stock. If not, at the time of this recording, you're going to have to go to the secondary market. And I've seen quite a few both on Amazon and eBay. So go get you some Cobra action. And we can see all the awesome accessories this figure comes with. We see Special Mission, Cobra Island. Then we see all the logos there. Cool artist rendition here. If you guys know the artist, please let me know so I can give him a shout out. Love the G.I. Joe and Cobra logos there. She is number 13 when these released. Beautiful artwork on the side. On the back, I love how, since this is supposed to be a mission, we get this whole island with all the different spots. If this was supposed to be like some sort of like mythos, let me know down in the comments, because I'm not 100% sure if this was supposed to build into something else. On the other side, get all the different Joe logos and Cobra logos, all that good stuff there. And of course, all the legal mumbo jumbo, so nothing on the bottom. With that said, is this figure set awesome or not? Let's get the Baroness out and learn more about the figure. Backstory on the Baroness. G.I. Joe, after the original 12-inch 1960s action figures, reappeared in the 80s as a promotional comic book produced by Marvel to promote Hasbro's new 3 3/4 Joe toy line. Hasbro had no story ideas for their line, so they reached out to Marvel Comics. Larry Hama took the assignment and made up the backstory as well as a majority of the figure's file cards. Hasbro would give him a concept drawing of the figure as well as like a job description. It's important to note that Marvel invented the concept of Cobra, with the iconic logo being created by Ron Rudat, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. This is how we got Anastasia, I'm probably going to butcher her name, Anastasia Cicernova, aka Anastasia de Cobra, I believe is how you pronounce her two AKAs, who first appeared in Marvel Comics' G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero #1 from June 1982. The spoiled offspring of European aristocrats, Anastasia was first involved in student radicalism, dabbed in extremist fringe groups, and finally graduated to international terrorism. She's believed to have been trained as a spy and a saboteur at an exclusive facility run by the Warsaw Pact Intelligence Agency. It's also rumored that she is the only one who knows Destro's secret identity. She was first introduced in the toy line in 1984, wearing her trademark black leather outfit. Baroness is a world-class expert in cryptography, psychological warfare, and biochemical scare irritants. She also has old ties and loyalties to Destro. She is Cobra's intelligence officer and lieutenant to Cobra Commander, and is portrayed as being romantically involved with Destro. According to G.I. Joe fandom pages, Larry Hama never wrote Baroness with an accent. He originally thought of her as an American student who went to Europe and joined radical groups. In the original cartoon, she is a major antagonist and made her first animated appearance in the G.I. Joe miniseries, The Mass Device. And she was voiced by the late, great Morgan Lofting. Now for accessories, let's talk about the big, awesome piece that she comes with. This is the Cobra C.O.I.L cycle, I believe is how you pronounce it. And I love the design of this bike. Just these reds look absolutely gorgeous. Wheels spin good. I mean, it moves relatively smooth. So great on Hasbro's part. Now, when I first took it out, I was kind of worried. I was like, oh God, they didn't give a kickstand. But fortunately, come under here. That's kind of hidden. And I was like, yeah, there's got to be something to keep that bike up, because come on, I was about to get really frustrated. So the one thing about the bike that you need to be very careful about is when it's in the packaging, you can see the one handlebar here, and it's sort of like on a ball joint to a degree. I guess how you pronounce it, or say it, whatever, you know what I'm saying. But you can move the handle around, and it pops in and out. One comes separated like so. And I noticed that when I first took this out, I could not for the life of me to get this sucker to fit in here. So I had to put it next to my space heater and get this hole nice and warm. And I'm going to have to do it again because, yeah, they made that thing way too big. Kind of a really stupid design flaw, in my opinion. They really should have made that a little bit bigger. But yeah, if you're looking to pop this in and out, I recommend either just gently laying this against like just a regular space heater or a blow dryer. Warm water, maybe, but then you have to worry about it drying and all that stuff. But just something that's going to loosen this and make this more pliable, and then this pops in and out relatively easy. But if you're just trying to just come right out of the packaging, that sucker's not going in. Now, the other thing about the handles that really irk my gurk, other than that, is they're relatively thick. So if you look at this and then you look at her hands, it is, once you get this popped on, it is a son of a 4-letter word to get her hand in there, because the figure, when they come in the packaging, these fingers are stiff. All of the classified ones I've noticed do that. So again, I would recommend warming up her hand and then putting this, because yeah, if you don't, that is going to be one heck of a time, and you really do run the chance of snapping it. That's what happened with my early review of Catwoman. Before I started warming up my figures, I was trying to put her whip in her hand, and her hand was so stiff I snapped it. And I just have not touched it since, because I just don't care. And that was almost 5 years ago. Yeah, wow, 5 years ago. But yeah, I've learned my lesson since then. So yeah, be very careful with that. And just, ugh. That's probably my biggest beef. The other gripe that I have with the bike and the Baroness is the foot pegs. So, you see the foot pegs there? They really should have raised these up a little bit more. Because once you get her on there, see how her foot just kind of, it doesn't do jack. So, yeah, that's probably the biggest gripes that I have with these figures. They made her hands too small for the bicycle things. They did not have to make this so bulbously big and this so teeny tiny small, because then it's like, oh my God, get in there, you're not gonna work. I digress. Those aside, beautiful cycle. Once you get her on there and you start posing it, it's going to look amazing. Thankfully, the wheels are, of course, attached to the gear shaft here, the drive shaft, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you can see how it moves. So some great articulation there. The blacks, the silvers, the blues, very beautiful. The Cobra logo on there just really is the nice little frosting on top. I kind of wish that they would have made, like, they made this clear, but I wish they actually would have put some like RPMs, you know, just stuff to make it look cool. Or like not sonar, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Radar, there's the word I was looking for. Just something to make it G.I. Joey. Windshield looks great, and that can move too. So I appreciate all the articulation that it has. Just those little gripes that make the bike miserable. Now for the accessories that go on the figure herself. She comes with 2 different types of guns, which is cool. We got this, I have no idea what these are supposed to be modeled after, so if you guys can help me out down in the comments, I'd appreciate it. But the jet black with that sheen on it looks absolutely amazing. And like with Marvel Legends, I hate that they'll re-release characters that have that Cat Bucky mold with the hole in the back. At least with the Joes, there's a reason for it, so that you could peg the weapons in and actually get some weapon storage. The only frustrating part is her hair. So you're kind of limited there. It's better when we get to the next accessory, which is the helmet. I wish that they would have found a way that this would have fit over the Baroness's head, but it's a head swap. So again, if you want to put this on, warm her head up first, because when I tried to just do it willy-nilly right out of the box, again, super duper tight, and it wasn't going anywhere. And you want to be careful to not rip those glasses off her face. So yeah, always make sure that you warm that up. But yeah, at least with the helmet, the hair is no longer a problem. And it would have been kind of neat to at least put maybe some hair on the helmet to make it look like it flows over, because once you put it on here, it's just that. Unless, she's tucking all that hair up in the helmet, which is possible. It's just, for me, to use a film term, it just kind of kills that verisimilitude. So you got to kind of have that suspension of belief to really believe that all this hair is up in that helmet. But yeah, that gun, and then the other gun. I like this one because it has sort of, not necessarily a double barrel, but it does. If that makes sense. Scope on it looks great. You're going to have some great time either posing her on a shelf with this or for action figure photography. Clip there. Looks great. This one is interesting. She comes with an actual legit Cobra. Now, one thing I'm going to say is, as much as I love the old G.I. Joe cartoon and the comics, I do, in a sense, with the movie, feel like they kind of jumped the shark, making Cobra Commander wasn't it an actual shark or whatever? Then they've introduced Serpentor, and I was just kind of like, yeah, you guys are really leaning into that Cobra thing. But I haven't really messed with this accessory that much. I've just enjoyed the look of it more than anything. But if you just kind of work it and twirl it, you guys get the gist. Have the Baroness holding this really kick-ass looking silver snake. So that's a neat accessory in and of itself. That nice silver reflecting with the gold. It's just a nice little addition. And there's some finer details, which is hard to get a focus on here. We'll try. Yeah, nice piece overall, especially with the way it's pounced out at the back to show that it's ready to attack. Nice little addition there. My favorite particularly is her knife. And it has this very somewhat detailed Cobra head on it. Again, Cobra! But yeah, the way that the back of it's just flared out. I forget what this is called, but yeah. Nice. I wish that the blade itself kind of had a silver sheen to it or something, but just to add that gold looks cool. And when you put it in the slot, which of course, as I bitch about with the Marvel Legends weapon storage, I always like to put it on her hip and make sure that the Cobra is facing towards who she's going to attack. So yeah, I love the weapon storage. And then she comes with these two kick-ass, again, I don't know if these are 45s or 9mm, but I like the classy taste of gold there. Just very 007 in my opinion, how it shines in the light. And again, you take Baroness, and she has these two pouches on her bum. Put them there. And that just looks like something kick-ass, like you'd see in like Cowboy Bebop or Black Lagoon. Yes, I'm referencing anime. Gorgeous addition there. And then, like I said, the two guns that go on her back. So yeah, for a deluxe figure, the accessories I can't complain too much about. They are beautiful. I'm glad that she comes with the bike helmet, the bike itself, different guns, and of course a bicycle. Yeah, a bicycle helmet, guys. A motorbike helmet. Great accessories all around. Now, as for the paint apps herself, I love this red Cobra on the chest. It just pops. I wish they would have made it a little bit brighter, but still, great logo there on the belt. This is loose, so you can move it around. I think that they put all the clips there on the belt to make it look like she's packing more heat than that figure actually has. Looks very much like the comic and the cartoon. I like that her feet kind of give off that medieval bracer look. Again, I wish they would have hid the peg, but whatever. Feet look cool. It has that, again, that kind of armor medieval look to it. Gloves have those cool Cobra effects on it. Looks beautiful. And then like the mesh netting on her arms. The face sculpt. I feel like, this is just my personal opinion, but I kind of feel like they made her face a little too long. So to a degree, when I look at her, I see the 90s movies, Addams Family, Morticia? Yeah, Morticia. I always get her, Morticia and Lily from the Monsters mixed up. But she kind of has that Morticia face. But it is what it is. Looks good. Hair looks great. All the lines. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't really hinder too much. It's rather pliable. So you can at least kind of get her to look up a little bit. The articulation on the head. But any female character, trying to get them to look up with that that type of hair. It's easier to do with the motorbike, in my opinion, but I'm glad that they made the glasses transparent instead of just painting over the glasses and hiding their eyes. That would have been irritating. The red lipstick looks great. So yeah, beautiful paint apps for an earlier classified figure. And it's the Baroness, so you get her up next to Destro and it's going to look absolutely amazing. Now we just kind of talked about the articulation of the head up and down or back and forth, whatever you want to call it. The side to side, it's got some good motion there. She twists. Interestingly enough, like the Marvel Legends, where the female anatomy here is usually at the solar plex, I wish that she would have been a double, but you can't really twist from there. Has to be at the waist. Again, one of these figures up, because with that, you can get her go down about that much, that far back. Arms, of course, 360. I'm glad that the shoulder pad's not connected there to hinder it. Arms can go up, like so. They do have, you have to kind of hold it, but they do have a upper bicep swivel, kind of. And at least there's somewhat of a butterfly joint, as you can see here. Elbows, 90 degrees. It is what it is. Now, as for the hands, I wish that they were more like the Legends, where you can move them up and down this way, but it's from this, so you kind of get more of an up and down that way. And I will say, at the Classifieds, I do not like that. I wish also that they would have given her maybe some resting hands and some punching hands, because just trying to do other stuff like putting her on the motorbike and she sells those trigger figures, trigger figures, say that 3 times fast. It is what it is. But whatever. Legs, that far out. That far out. And the butt flap is actually kind of plasticky, so she's not going to suffer too much from the Hasbro butt flap. I mean, you still kind of go up, but that's more than the Legends, so good on Hasbro for their G.I. Joe line, and it's too bad they couldn't just implement that into their Marvel Legends. The other thing about the Joes that I like that Hasbro kind of dropped the ball with the Legends is the legs can move up and down, so you can get more of a range that way. I'm thankful for it. It also spins, so you get that upper thigh cut there. Relatively almost double jointed knees. Foot goes up, foot goes down, and it's spinny. So for an earlier figure, like I said, I think this was 2020, 2021, I can't remember off the top of my head. Relatively damn good figure. And to release this with the first series of the, what do you call it? Of the Classifieds, I can't complain. I mean, yeah, it was a pain in the ass when it came out because scalpers swooped it up. Thankfully, I got this from a buddy, and rest in peace, Azad. But I'm glad that he was able to hook me up with this because, yeah, it's been one of my favorites in my collection, and I'm glad that I've finally gotten to review her and share this with you guys because, yeah, beautiful figure. What do y'all think? Now here's the Baroness next to her comrades. This is Tomox and Zymox, I believe is how you pronounce their names. If I'm wrong, I think find me down in the comments. And then the classified G.I. Joe Cobra Commander. And then, of course, Destro. And then we got the cool C.O.I.L bike in the back. So if you guys are huge G.I. Joe fans, these older classified figures still hold up to this day and look absolutely gorgeous. I do wish Cobra Commander had his more traditional look here instead of more the regal look. But nonetheless, you get them all lined up like this and do like a cool diorama on a shelf or do action figure photography. All of these figures are going to look absolutely exquisite together. Who's your favorite G.I. Joe? Who's your favorite Cobra? What are you guys going to do with your action figures? Are you going to pose them and do action figure photography or put them on a shelf? Let us know. Share your photos with us over on the socials. Do I love this bike? Heck yeah. It has a nice design to it, beautifully colored. Do I love the figure? Yes, it captures that very wickedness of the Baroness. Do I like the functionality? No, not at all. Trying to make those motorcycle handles a little too big for her hands to where you have to warm them up for her to clasp them like so. Or the fact that these foot pegs are so teeny tiny that they don't really fit in her footholes. Mercifully, it has a kickstand. I wasn't sure at first. And I was like, well, how the hell do they expect you to keep this thing up? But thankfully, I did some futzing with it. Found it. And if you're a G.I. Joe fan, guys, definitely up your alley. It is a beautiful bicycle. It's a beautiful set, but I really feel like Hasbro could do a lot better. There's a lot to be desired, but overall, still very desirable, beautiful piece all around. Nice large bike, lots of awesome accessories, and then the Baroness just looking kick-ass like so. So if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever you like to get your action figures and comics and grab this. If not, then you have to hit up the secondary market that we talked about at the beginning of the review. Speaking of, if you have enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Cobra bell next to subscribe, that way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all, hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading. Photo slideshow coming up next, and happy hunting, everyone.